Well, joining me now is Victorian Shadow Minister for Indigenous Affairs, Melina Barth. Melina, thanks for coming on the program tonight. This treaty legislation is a slap in the face to the majority of Victorians who less than 2 years ago voted no to Labor's voice to Parliament, isn't it?
Hello, James, and hello to your viewers. Look, we understand that Victorians need to be treated equally. And what we're seeing through the treaty bill that's coming through Parliament, it's coming to Parliament today in the lower house and going to progress through to the upper house. We understand that unfortunately this is a divisive bill. It's creating two sets of people. We know that we should be able to govern for all Victorians, independent of race, background, religion, colour. That's what we want to see. We know that this is dividing communities, and indeed there is not unity within our Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander Victorians. There is no one consensus about this. And I've spoken with people today who are from Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander background and are opposed to this treaty bill. I've had emails coming in thick and fast. So we're concerned that it creates another significant, powerful statutory body with significant ongoing legislative funds that increase year on year, that there's an opt-in for further funds. And what we're very concerned about is that it does not formulate the outcomes for closing the gap targets. Nationally, states have signed up to improving certain criteria, closing the gap, and this legislation does not forward into that zone and commit to those outcomes. Now, I've been travelling around the state. I've been listening to Aboriginal corporations, ACOs as they're called, community-led organisations, health organisations, and we don't need a treaty, we don't need a statutory body to tell us, and I've been listening to understand that there are issues out there that need to be addressed. There are dentists that need to be coming into the zone in Mildura, that there are children in out-of-home care at alarming rates. We believe, the Liberals and Nationals believe, that we need to focus very seriously on addressing disadvantage and building people up, but a statutory body that's all-powerful, that does not have to respond to the minister and the minister has no jurisdiction over, is not the way to go.
You've talked a lot about listening to Indigenous Victorians, and that's very important because the point is to try to help Indigenous people. But what about non-Indigenous people? This treaty is just out and out racist, is it not?
Well, we believe that the Liberals and Nationals believe that we should be governing for all Victorians, and that's our pledge when we get to government in November next year. We want to see these good outcomes.
I understand. Sorry, I understand that, but the treaty before the Parliament, as proposed by the Labor Party, would you agree it's just plain racist?
James, we want to see good outcomes. I also don't want to, if I say, engage in activity that's not worthy. We believe that this is a wrong bill. We don't want that division.
I don't mean to interrupt you, but if it divides Victorians by race, then by definition it's racist, isn't it?
They're your words. I'm really focused on governing for all. Really focused. It's my job. It's my job to support Aboriginal Victorians who are disadvantaged, but it is not fair that we have taxpayer-funded money going to set up a statutory body with huge authority. We've got a minister who, with no oversight, nobody can, in actual fact, reject or dissolve this body. The only way it can be resolved is through the treaty authority, and we don't believe that it is the right way to go.
So let me ask you this. If the treaty is passed into law, will your party repeal it and get rid of it if you win government next year?
And at that point in time, where it hasn't passed into Parliament, it hasn't passed through Parliament, we have a different policy. I'm working on that policy. It is certainly not the treaty, and I'd be really happy to come on and explain it to you when it's passed through our parliamentary process, which is a few weeks away, and it's about making sure taxpayer funds are directed well, they have proper outcomes for closing the gap, but they do not divide this state of Victoria.
Sorry, I just don't understand. If this treaty is as bad as you say, and I agree with you, why wouldn't you just tonight tell all the Victorians, you elect us and this treaty will be put in the bin? I mean, surely that's what Victorians would want to hear from a Conservative government.
I completely agree. At this point in time, the reality is we have a process through the Liberals and Nationals, and I'm a process girl because we need to really ensure that we can make commitments.
How much process do you need for something? Sorry, how much process do you need for something so divisive?
That's fine. I appreciate it. Invite me back on in 2 weeks and I'll be able to make all sorts of commitments, but it's not my way. But please feel assured that we will be opposing this legislation, and James, in the upper house, I will be asking multiple questions to outline how and why this is not the way to go.
Well, Melina Barth, I would love to have you back on the program in 2 weeks for you to tell Victorians that if you get into government, this thing is gone. I think a lot of people would be very supportive of you if you came up with that pledge. Thanks for joining me tonight. I really do appreciate it.